It's not me to be blamed for that. And if they weren't legitimate stories, I don't think they would be covering them as much as they are.
Well, let me ask you this. If they were really such a big deal, then why haven't they been an issue? All the time Jeff's been up there sticking his neck out as a state legislature fighting against all this stuff.
Come on, Peter. You know, once you're in there, they're not going to bring up another issue until you move up to a higher office or somebody new comes along to run against you.
It's the same issue it was before. The issue has not changed. It's the same issue. If there was really hay there, then it would have sunk him already. The reality is it's much ado about nothing. Yeah. You can't argue about the issues because your own administration was mired in corruption, and you can't stand on that. So you're trying to attack your opponent rather than standing on what you have done for this state.
Okay. Let Joe respond there.
Yeah, but on the subject of the people who embezzled from my administration, I've addressed that many times. I'll address it again. I feel awful about it. As the captain of the ship, I was the one who I wish I had seen through their devious behavior, and I apologize to the people of the state. I take full responsibility for it. I kept one employee on. I hired another employee. That was on my watch. Now, I'm not blaming Jeff Perry for that. And when it comes out, I don't blame anybody other than to say I owe an explanation to people. Absolutely right. And I owe an apology to people. I like a lot of other politicians in this state, I wasn't perfect, and I take full responsibility for that. But look at the culture of our operation. Again, reduced our operating budget by 62%, made the lottery the most efficient in the country, took the pension funds from worst performers in the nation to the best, merged pension funds to save $15 million. We did some great things, but there were bad apples, no doubt about it. All I would suggest to Jeff is do the same thing. Just step up, take responsibility.
Mark, you're next with Howie Carr and Joe Malone, former state treasurer and now candidate for Congress from the 10th Congressional District. Go ahead, Mark.
Howie, thanks for taking my call. Mr. Malone.
Yes.
Do you know what? I remember you way back when, before, you know, and it's going to come off as a rib, but, you know, before you were honest like today, when you ran the lottery and when you gave all the G-Tech business to your pal Sal and Randolph, and God rest his soul.
Well, I don't.
It's passed by now. But no, well, you don't think you know, but let me tell you something. You know because I've seen you there when I was working there.
You saw him where?
As the assistant controller at Howie, get ready to cut the name out, Lombardo's and Randolph. You know what? You took care of your friends, and you know what? Your friends are dead.
May I
go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
That is the most untrue statement I've ever heard. He's talking about the Lombardo family who owned Lombardo's restaurant. We did political events there. This was not anything where they benefited from anything at the lottery. And again, I would say, for every dollar of lottery tickets sold when I arrived at the lottery, 4.4% was spent on overhead. By the time we left, that number was 2.2%, which meant hundreds of millions of dollars over that 8-year period. Extra dollars went back to cities and towns. And I can sense, there's a lot of anger on the Perry side. I think they're seeing the kind of momentum we're developing. I think they're seeing the kind of support that's coming our way, including a lot of defections from his camp.
Really? But who's defected among elected officials?
I'm sorry?
Who's defected among elected officials?
Not in terms of elected officials, but in terms of rank and file, grassroots people. A lot of them have come our way, with a lot of them who I'm meeting with next week. So they're not names that, household names, but for example, a woman by the name of Tracy Post, who's a select woman down in on the Cape, and others like her. But we're gaining great momentum. I can tell you that. It's feeling good. And you know what? Again, I guess this is part of politics. As you say, Howie, it's not beanbag. But, in my case, I'm not perfect. I've never said I was perfect. I'll step up and take the heat when you need to take the heat. But I'm not going to say, I've got a problem here, so therefore I'm going to repeat over and over that it's my opponent's fault for it occurring. So, but anyway,
okay.
It's a beautiful Friday afternoon, Howie.
Yes.
And I appreciate you having me on the show.
Okay, well, we're going to move on then.
Again, to talk about the the reasons why this is a critical election year, and the fact that we're at a $13 trillion debt, and we've got the Dr. Frankensteins down in Washington experimenting with America while we're on the verge of going over the cliff. So it's a critical election year.
Okay, so just one more time, you didn't leak the story. You didn't leak the story to the papers.
This story first came out on Cape Cod Today, and there's a blogger there that goes by 3 initials. And man, this guy, it wasn't the first thing he put out there. In fact, I think it was acknowledged in the newspaper, in the Patriot Ledger.
Yeah, it was.
That's where it came from.
It was. Yeah. So
and you know what? I do think it's coming from people who have known Representative Perry for a lot of years, and they've just decided that, come hell or high water, they're going to get the information out that they think is pertinent.
Okay.